Hey guys, it's Avery, and today I thought I would do a sit down talk DIY tutorial with you all. So I'm going to show you how to make a DIY travel journal. It's very similar to the way I make my journals if you've watched a journal tutorial from me before, but it's just going to be a little bit different style. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit thicker, and I'm going to add some fun stuff on the inside, and it's going to be super easy. And let's just go ahead and get into the video. So here I have an old paper pack. I got it from Michael's. It's almost out, but I want to pick my cover of the book. I'm not going to do fabric. I'm just going to do a piece of paper. I think I like this one for the cover. So I'm going to tear this out, pull this to the side, and then all the pages on the inside I'm just going to have white, so I'm not going to pull pages out of here for that. And I'm going to pull out this page to add in some details on my Mexico trip. I didn't really explain. I'm currently making my travel journal for my spring break trip to Mexico. I'm going on a mission trip, so I'm going to a town on the border, and we are going to help them build buildings. We are going to teach them English, and it's going to be a ton of fun, and I'm very, very excited for it. I know these colors don't necessarily, they're not Mexico colors, but that's okay. You don't have to match, the flag or the colors of the place you're going. All right, so now let's decide on the size. So I don't want it to be a normal tall journal size. I kind of want it to be a little bit shorter and a little bit thicker. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this and cut down this to size. You can literally have whatever size of journal you want if you're making it yourself. I'm using bookboard here. If you don't have bookboard, you can use literally any kind of cardboard, like literally from a cereal box if you want. So I am actually gonna go all the way down. I think I'm going to the 6-inch mark here. I think that's where I wanna go. 4.5 by 6, that looks like a pretty decent size to me. I like to make my travel journals just a little bit smaller. It's easier to carry around, it's easier to throw in a bag. The excess right here, we want to make this side. I don't want it to be this thick. Definitely not. So in this travel journal, I want to fill it up with obviously photos. I want to draw things that I see. I want to write down what's happening, what we did that day, anything that I want to remember. I want to write down the names of the people I met. I want to talk about the relationships I grew. I also want to write down my prayers because it's a mission trip. And I want to write down like what kind of devos we're doing at night and what I'm learning and everything. So I really want to make sure I'm filling this up. To put the cover on the inside of the paper that you chose. So you're literally just going to glue it down on the paper. So I'm going to go down as low as I can because I want to still conserve paper. We're going to cut off once we have it glued on. So just kind of put a layer in the back. Make sure you don't do too thick, but also make sure you cover as many inches of the board as you can with glue, but lightly, because if you do it too globby, it's going to create bubbles and be too thick, and you're going to be able to see it on the other side. And then it also won't stick too well if you don't have as much covering as you can. I always try to get the very far corners. Okay, then you're going to lay it down. Hold it down still tight. Okay, then you're gonna move on to the next one. Actually, you're gonna move on to the middle piece. Same concept for the middle piece and the other side. And you always wanna do just like a little space in between. Not touching, but not too far. I usually eyeball everything if you can't tell. I ended up making the book board though 6 by 4.5. If you are curious, if you think you like this size. Okay, and then lay your other side down. I'm using PVA glue. This is really good bookbinding glue, if you've never heard of it. I just ordered mine from Amazon. You can get it at craft stores as well. I'm going to cut this down. Okay. Always cut down with enough space to fold over. Don't make it too short and don't make it too thick because then that's just, excess and a wasting paper. So, and then after that, we are going to cut the corners. I usually just use normal scissors for this part. You just kind of cut the corners, lay your glue down on the edges. Don't do too thick like normal. Too much glue is always an issue. Too little glue is an issue. You gotta find that balance. And then you're going to fold it over and try and get it as tight as you can. If you're using cardstock type paper, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get it to stick. See how it popped right back up because it's thick paper? You really just have to work with it. Really make sure you're bending the sides and folding it down. So I always just kind of hold it here for a second, and then after I get all of the sides down, I usually lay it the other way with something heavy on top of it. It's gonna go inch by inch with your thumbs, pressing it down. Do not bend your book this way yet. It needs to be completely dry before you do that, or things are gonna get a little bit sketchy. So you're gonna lay it upside down and then put something heavy on top of it. I'm just gonna put my cutter right here down on top. Alright, now for the inside pages, I'm going to use some cardstock paper. Totally have the option to fill your journal with whatever kind of paper you want. Lined paper, decorated paper, colored paper, watercolor paper, like whatever kind of paper you want. Obviously you have that freedom. I just kind of want mine to be blank. I usually just go for basic white cardstock paper. This is the paper I put in the journals that I sell on my Etsy shop. So this is just kind of my go-to. You can do as many pages as you want. I usually default to 5 signatures of 5 papers. A signature is the bundle of folded pages that you put together. So that's what I usually do. I'm just gonna kind of fold right now and then see what fills up the journal. And this could take a little while. Make sure you have a good podcast on, or you're watching a good show, or you're listening to some good music. So here I'm just putting the signatures together. Hopefully this makes a little bit more sense if you don't really know what signatures are. So like I said, I put 5 pages in one, and that's usually just kind of my default. I think that's pretty common. Thinner paper, you could totally do more. Since I use a cardstock style, I find that 5 works the best, maybe even less if you wanted. I wouldn't really do more than 5. But yeah, and then you have your journal. So if you were doing a normal size, then this would be it. But because we are cutting it down for the smaller size, we are going to chop them down to fit the journal. But I still want to wait a little bit to make sure this glue is super dry. So I'm gonna take a lunch break and I'll be right back. All right, we are back from lunch. As you can see, Lily is sitting in my lap. Say hi, baby. Anywho, we are going to now check on the book board. So now we're going to fold it. We're going to do this carefully, very, very carefully. So you're going to push down and fold slowly. So the insides are gonna want to push up, outward, away. Okay, Lily, you can't lay on my arm like that. I'm working. The insides right here are going to want to push up. So you're going to want to hold down on those and push them in, because that's just natural for the paper right here to bubble up if it isn't stuck down by the glue, because some pieces can get missed. So you want to make sure you are really pushing inward while you, Lily's just licking my arm, while you do that. So push in, fold up. So now we want to measure the paper on the inside just to see. So I could totally add probably another signature if I wanted, or maybe even like 2 more if I wanted to fill up this binding like really good, this back. But the thing is, I'm not going to, because I want to leave a lot of space for me to fill this journal, because I plan on putting like paper, like pictures, anything that I get in here, because it's my travel journal. Like I'll create pockets and stuff and put things in here, so I want to give me a lot of growing room. Okay, now we have it all cut. It fits inside perfectly. Give myself space on the outside. Open it up and you have your cute little journal. So now we want to decorate the inside. I'm gonna cut it down to size. If I was being smart, I would have told you to do this while we were doing the whole waiting to dry process. But you know, every time I make a journal, it just seems to be a little bit different. So this one isn't wrapping around, so you really want to make sure you're pressing down really well. Really well. You want to make sure it's all covered. And again, I'm going to put it under here and let that do its thing. I didn't wait long enough for it to dry, so it's a little bit wrinkly here. So this is a good example to show you that you need to wait for it to dry. Honestly, I'm okay with it that I only did it right here because this is going to be covered up by all my signatures. So now we want to line up the journal exactly how we want them to look on the inside of this. What you can do is measure everything out, what I'm about to show you, be really precise, make your own templates, and do all that stuff. I like to do that for journals that I sell and stuff. But for this one, I just want to show you how quick and easy it can be. So really what I'm going to do is just kind of eyeball everything. If you want to make a template, you can fold it, measure out, and then go from there. I have other videos to show you this kind of concept. But like I said, I kind of just want to eyeball it and go with the flow because you can get pretty dang close by eyeballing. Okay, so I have my little spool of thread here. It is kind of goldish brown, and I feel like it goes really well with the accents on this paper, and so that is what I'm going to use to bind my pages together. And here I just have a needle, and this is all you really need, plus some scissors to cut your thread. If you've never watched a journal tutorial, then I recommend, I think I have a specific video from a while ago just on binding. I'll link that down below. I usually, by the way, cut my thread at arm's length. So I'm going to do 3 dots, one on the edge, one in the middle, and one on the edge. You're going to go maybe an inch up and then an inch down, and then just wherever you want in the middle. So I'm going to do there, and then yeah. I'm only going to worry about doing it once, because once I have one thread in, one signature in, it's easy just to go over and match the hole next to it, and that's why it can be pretty easy to eyeball. It's just getting it started. So I'm going to take all the signatures out except for one, and I'm going to take it out here, and I'm going to poke the first hole. Like I said, make sure it's in the middle and where you want it. Okay, I'm just going to poke a hole through the edge and then go through the book board. You can pre-poke holes into the book board. It'll make it a lot easier. And then you're just going to pull through. Start from the inside if you don't tie a knot on the end of the thread. That way you can tie it off at the end. Sometimes it's easier to go through the board first and then through the signature. Alright, and then you just go through the paper in the middle this way. Also, if you're working with a long piece of thread, you want to make sure it doesn't get tangled up as you pull it through. That is super common. So just kind of keep it as straight as you can. Lily's getting mad that I'm not paying attention to her. Super needy. It's fine. When you're first getting started, it's easier to work through the paper and then the book board and not worrying so much about having them together right away. But once you get through your first 3 holes, then you want to start working on tightening it and keeping the pages actually tight to the board itself. So it's really just going into the hole next to it. You're weaving in and out, in and out. And just trying to keep your thread straight. And you want to keep getting tighter and tighter. Don't want it to be loose in here anymore once you start getting this going, because you want this to be tight, like we are putting this into our journal. So try and keep it as tight as you can from here on out once you have your signature in. So in through here, you can weave in and out as many times as you think you need. I usually go until my thread runs out after doing arm's length worth of it. So you're just gonna tie it in a knot here. It's kind of hard to make sure you get the knot as tight as you can, because if the knot isn't tight, then your thread is going to hang. So now what I'm gonna do is I have the holes for my first one here, and I'm going to create 4 more dots based off of this just by eyeballing it. Literally just poking a hole. So I made 5 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and now I'm just going to do the exact same thing with the first signature on the rest of the 4. And I will show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Some time has passed and I have finished sewing in the signatures to this journal. They're all in here, and this can be where you stop, or if you want, you can add in some fun things. I kind of want to add a pouch, and then for the pocket, I'm going to put it in like this, and you can just stick whatever in right here. I find that using double-sided tape works best, so I am going to put this in. And when you first create your journal, it's going to be kind of hard to loosen up a little bit. It'll seem a little bit more stiff, but the more you use it, the way easier it'll get, trust me. So now we have a pocket here, and you can stick things in on the side. Super easy and convenient. By the time this video goes up, I will already be back from my mission trip filming a flip through of the travel journal, but this is the place that we are going, and so instead of like pre-sticking in fun things, I'm just gonna cut out a bunch of things and stick them in the folder because I don't know what I want each page to look like. But that is how you can make a super easy pocket travel journal. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Any questions, leave them down below. If you have any video requests, please leave them down below. I love to know your video requests. I also love chatting with you guys down there. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and always watching my videos and being so kind to me. I love you all so much. I hope you have a great spring break, or if you already had a spring break, I hope you had a great spring break. I'm filming this obviously before my spring break, but this video is gonna go up after my spring break, so I know spring breaks are all over the place, but enjoy your break, and if you don't get a spring break, then I'm sorry, but you know what? Summer's coming. I love you all, and I will see you guys in my next video.